I have a hack for you, whether you are looking for a summer or spring, whatever. You want a fun learning opportunity for your kids where they won't even know they're learning. Breaks, they happen all around the year, right? And whether you're someone who looks at breaks like, oh, this is so much fun, we're going to bond, or I have a lot of anxiety because I have a schedule and the kids are still here and I don't know how to do them with here and my schedule, or whether you're like, I need to make sure they keep learning, but we have this big break. It doesn't matter. I have the perfect thing for you. Problem solving workshops. And you're thinking, I don't think I've really heard of that before. Well, you know, problem solving. You want your kids to learn how to do problem solving. Problem solving is so important. Well, now we're going to mix it with workshops. Workshops is where you come in. You will have to create these workshops. We're going to go through all of that today. Yes, it's a little bit of work, but it is mind-blowing, and your kids will beg you to create these for them. So hold tight. We're going to start with what the heck is a problem solving workshop. There's lots of ways to explain it, but the way I see it, to put it in a little tiny package, is they're almost like escape rooms. They're obstacles, often presented as according to a theme or a storyline, that take some time, and they're super fun to do. What are the benefits of a problem-solving workshop? Well, there are many benefits to using problem-solving teaching methods in your home or homeschool classroom. Among these, problem-solving workshops benefit your child by strengthening academic skills, enhance critical thinking abilities, foster creativity and innovation, improve decision-making skills, boost self-confidence, and independence. You're like, wow, I want my kids to have all of those things. Problem-solving workshops, all of that. So, how do you use a problem-solving workshop? There are many ways to use one in your home. Ultimately, hosting a workshop, even one that isn't tied to a specific curriculum or backstory, offers so many advantages that you might find it unnecessary to go the extra mile and incorporate it into your lesson plans. But we're going to talk about how to do both of those things. If you choose to weave it into your curriculum, keep in mind that kids learn best when they're having a great time. Playful learning not only boosts their engagement, but also makes their experience more enjoyable, which helps them to remember what they've learned so much better. Ways you can use a problem-solving workshop as a reward. I talked about story hunts as a reward for reluctant readers. These workshops could work the exact same way. I think that kiddos will enjoy these so much that if you promise to create one every winter and end of the year break, if they promise to, and you would fill in the blank there, right? So what is your biggest struggle? You would totally have a deal. So if your biggest struggle is, say, something like, if you, for all of fall, do, say your biggest struggle is getting them to get up in the morning to do this. If you just follow through and get up in the morning, okay, that's it. I am going to host this whole day problem-solving workshop for you for winter break. Whatever it is, you could do this as a reward system. It will not matter if you create a problem-solving workshop that is not related to what they have learned. Your children will just want to play in the space that you created. Reinforcement could also be a way you use these. I love these workshops to reinforce material that they have learned. They can be a culmination to the school year or the very first thing that the kiddos do in August to get your children fired up again about learning. You can also have a workshop as soon as you get back from winter break. If you get really good at preparing these, you could do mini workshops every single time you finish a huge unit. They could also be used as introduction to new units. I love getting children excited about what I'm about to teach them. If you are heading into, for example, a new science unit about rocks. Why rocks? Because that was probably one of the least exciting things I could think of. How can you do a problem-solving workshop to cause your children to feel curiosity, want to experience the rocks, and ask more questions? This is a perfect use of one of these workshops that leads them into the unit. Unrelated topics. This is another way you could use problem-solving workshops. Do you ever have a topic you want to talk about to your children about that is simply unrelated to your curriculum? In the examples I'm going to give you under discussion, there's a topic of elderly driving and age limits and tests. This would be a great problem-solving workshop discussion, mathematical equations for speed, roundabouts, etc., to see if there are safer ways to allow more people on the road longer, and city planning or graphing exercises. I just kept adding things as I was thinking of this. So this would be a totally unrelated topic, but the learning would be so profound because there's so many things you could put into that. How do I prepare for a problem-solving workshop? I'm not going to lie. Preparing your own problem-solving workshop can be a lot of work. There are ways to make it easier, and we will get into that under tips. However, anytime you make a concerted effort to give your children real-world challenges that are engaging, also set in a theme or a story, all under the guise of fun and games, well, this takes creativity and effort. The rewards are well worth the effort, though. What are your goals and expectations? It is much easier to start planning your workshop if you know what you want your children to accomplish with it. A workshop that is focused on reviewing a unit will look much different than one that is a reward at the end of the school year and simply fun, while they reap the benefits of the problem-solving workshop in both. You could use the problem-solving workshop to introduce the next major unit study. Let's use Egypt for an example. You could develop an entire backstory about an archaeologist in Egypt. As one of the puzzles, you could have a word search that has many of the important concepts that the student will need to learn and understand in the upcoming studies. An example is silt. I love silt. While many students do not readily know about it, this is crucial to understanding the success of the agriculture and the flooding of the Nile. Your goal is to create opportunities that stimulate your child's curiosity, encourage creative thinking, and leave them wanting much, much more. How much time do I want the workshop to take? An escape room takes 1 hour. I like the idea of a workshop taking 4 hours, 2 in the morning, or late in the morning, have lunch, downtime, and then 2 in the afternoon. This makes it an event. This makes it something to get really excited about. You will want to know how long you want it to take and the day. How many people will be participating and how? One of the benefits of these workshops is collaboration with others. You need to have other children there to work with your child. This will, oddly enough, make it easier, not more work. But you'll see this in the tips. You can also make a problem-solving workshop virtual. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of virtual just because I like human interaction and kids thrive on being with other kids. However, you can have, as an example, the morning portion be the hands-on and the puzzles and the activities and everybody running around going from this clue to this clue or whatever once they solve things. Then have everyone break for lunch, like a barbecue or something. They can play together, or if they're older, hang out for about an hour, and then everybody head home. Once everyone is resettled, teach the kids how to get into an online room. This is an incredibly valuable life skill at this time in our lives. Many people are using Zoom or Google Hangouts for meetings. It is very beneficial that your child knows how to do this. Then have a discussion part of the problem-solving workshop, and that can take place virtually. How do I design an engaging problem-solving workshop? Great question. You know what you want to do. Now you want to know how. Your goal is to craft challenges that will fire up those critical thinking skills while allowing your child to be creative in their learning and decision-making processes. Open-ended. This is a key. Encourage your child to think creatively by presenting open-ended problems that require them to come up with innovative solutions. Real world. Incorporate real-world scenarios that connects the challenges to current events or real life, making them more relatable, and interesting. Mix it up. Use different formats of challenges and puzzles to keep it all exciting. If you use the exact same thing all the time, it's just not that fun. Include hands-on puzzle-solving activities and discussion type of challenges. Age appropriate. Tailor the workshop for the specific age group. The key to an engaging problem-solving workshop is it will challenge, but it won't frustrate. This means that you would use different puzzles, techniques, themes, or whatever for your 5-year-olds than you would use for your 10 or 16-year-olds. Tips. These are the tips for creating a problem-solving workshop with greater ease. Get help. One of the key factors of these workshops is collaborative activities. Talk with other homeschooling moms and see if any of them would be interested in creating this with you for all the kids. If you are in a co-op, this is even better, which is just another reason why I love homeschool co-ops. The other mom or moms, you can come up with challenges, puzzles, discussion points, and the theme or the storyline together, and your children can do the workshop together. Win. Don't assume. It is so easy to assume that because we know it and because we were never officially taught it, it is just a known thing. How to be a member of a collaborative team is not the same as being on a sports team or a family member. Don't assume your child already knows how to be a great listener, is able to communicate their thoughts so they are heard appropriately, and can compromise and listen to differing ideas about a topic. You need to teach it. There are a ton of puzzle ideas out there. For me, it is so much easier to start with a theme. This at least narrows down what I should be looking for. Okay, let's just imagine searching for clothing on Amazon. Men's, women's pants, shirts, winter, summer. The list could go on and on. Can you imagine just trying to Google that or Amazon that? Don't forget, these are supposed to be fun. Your child should be begging you to create another one. So even though you want them to learn specific topics, and believe me, they will be learning just in doing the challenges and thinking creatively and outside of the box. They are begging you to learn more. Isn't that just so crazy? When are your kids like begging you, I want to learn more, I want to learn more? But that's the gist of these. Can you give me an example of a problem-solving workshop? Okay, I'm going to ask for you to give me grace because I was on vacation at the time I wrote this. And so you will see from many of my examples that I was coming up with these totally off the cuff. So to incorporate real world in some of these are going to be very specific to my area and may not be to yours, but you're going to see how I do this. Also, some of these are going to be more appropriate for older children or younger children. So discussion topics. The goal is to encourage your children to see multiple ways to resolve an issue. This helps them to learn empathy and build listening and conflict resolution skills. Under absolutely no circumstance would I choose a topic that is weighted down by political drama or anything that will cause fear or concern or something that is so important to me that I am expecting them, my child, to veer a certain way. That's not fair. This is their thing. This is where they're supposed to be able to come up with all kinds of different ideas. That's the whole goal of this. After a specific age, this is my topic. After a specific age, should the elderly be required to pass a yearly driver's exam? That's the topic. This is why. People in our town have tried to get this on the ballot off and on over the past 30 years. We have a very, very large elderly population. We do have a large number of accidents that involve elderly drivers. Now, here's the flip side of that. However, we live in a town that is very spread out geographically. I live 15 minutes from a grocery store by car, and we have no public transportation. So, and another point, and I would not give this point to your children, but this is an idea if they're getting stuck. If the huge amount of people in the town is elderly, of course it's going to be skewed that more people that are getting in accidents are elderly because that's the larger population. So it's amazing how this can go, because if you're younger, you're like, oh my gosh, well, of course, all these elderly are getting in accidents. Well, if 65% of your population is elderly, it just kind of goes to reason that more of those people would get in accidents. So anyway, so that's why I like to pick that kind of topic, because it opens up their minds to all these different possibilities. Okay, the next topic is recycling. When does it matter, or is it more beneficial than not to, not recycle? So we live in Arizona, where at times in the year we have actually run out of water. Yep, I have turned on the faucet and no water has come out. And I'm not on a well. I'm actually on a private water company. It takes a long time to wash peanut butter out of the containers before recycling. So here's some questions. Is the recycling really going anywhere and being turned into anything? When is it an absolute must to recycle? And when is it more harmful to the environment and using more resources to do so? Okay, that's another one of the topics. So now we have 2, elderly drivers and recycling. Here's my third topic. Should people be allowed to decide about themselves? And this is what I mean by that. I was just in Mexico. Many people rode in the back of the pickup trucks. We used to do this when I was little. Motorcyclists were allowed to ride their motorcycles without helmets. We used to not have to wear seatbelts. Whether or not these are good or bad decisions, should we have laws about them? Should we have police officers spending time and money giving tickets for them? Those kind of things. If these laws are to protect us and keep us safe and keep us healthy, should we also not be allowed to eat fatty foods? Because I believe this is one of the biggest killers. Or this could actually be a whole nother discussion point. Okay, so those are discussion points. Storylines. We all love a good story. When you create a story that holds your problems and challenges together, it all just kind of makes sense. So here's one story. A fish is swimming and comes upon a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. This is a story you will make up, depending on where you want to take it, and this is all an example. Here are some examples of activities that can go with it. Mathematical equation, how to determine how long it will take that bag to wash into shore. Or mathematical equation, how long will it take for that bag to decompose in water or land? Problem solving, what are other things that vacationers could have used a gallon-sized Ziploc bag for? Craft, DIY idea with the gallon-sized bag, or science ideas with the gallon-sized bag. What about the viability of sea life and humans coming together? Is that even a thing? Here's another topic. We experienced the after effects of Hurricane Sarah while we were on vacation. A hurricane, a tornado, or an earthquake would make a great storyline in the background, as there are many science, math, and discussion points you can have around these. A circus. There is so much going on at a circus. You can easily incorporate all kinds of fun puzzles, engaging games, and challenging math or science dilemmas under the guise of the big top. Units. I love the idea of using problem-solving workshops to introduce or review units of study. The actual unit would be the center focus. Here's an idea. Rome. You can have a story about Rome or even taking place amongst the Roman gods. Let's say Romulus and Remus could be having a sibling rivalry. That would be fun. You would want to include things like aqueducts and Roman numerals. Geography. Depending on what you're studying, geography is pretty big, but you could focus on the puzzle of each region. You could even have on the floor or on the ceiling a map and see if the kids even notice. Geometry. Assuming the child is young and is being first introduced to geometry, you can have many puzzles that use things like tangrams. I think that's how you pronounce it. Also have a lot of manipulatives of shapes that the child is required to place in specific sequences. So you also use patterning. You can also create challenges with angles, like you can only see something that is crucial to finding the next clue when the telescope is held at a specific angle. Organizing a fun problem-solving workshop for your kids can be an incredibly fulfilling way to nurture their critical thinking, creativity, teamwork, and collaboration skills. By introducing them to real-life situations, open-ended challenges, and a mix of puzzles and games, you will find they'll be eager to dive in and learn more. The kids' movie quote, if you're gonna think Think Big, the Lorax.